lies. All you see is for you and I. In your dreams, through the nights, every moment that passes by, look to the heavens, hands spread wide, thanking Allah the Most High. There is no God but Allah.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear viewers, I would like to welcome you once again to our program, iTeens World, and we will be discussing another topic and a continuation of a leadership development program for youth, where we'll be discussing today humility and respect. This is very important topic that is very dear to me, and I would also like to start by just welcoming the young guest that I have today on the program. I would like to start with you.
My name is Abdul Mateen Yusuf. I'm 17 years old and I'm from India and I'm in year 12.
MashaAllah, welcome to the show.
Thank you, welcome.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My name is Atiq Ar-Rahman. I'm from India and my age is 18 years of age and I'm still at school, grade 13.
MashaAllah, welcome to the show.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Muhaymin Fuzail. I'm from Malaysia. I'm 14 years of age and I'm in grade 10.
MashaAllah, welcome to the show.
Jazakallah.
I think we'll quickly start again to reiterate the fact that this program is a discussion where we'd like to just look at the topic and then discuss and perhaps have different ways to look at how we can enhance these skills, so to develop the leadership qualities of our youth. And through these discussions, I would like to say that it is not just for the youth but also for the parents and the teachers and all the people. We would quickly start by humility and respect. And what do you think in your context of youth, what do you think of humility and respect?
Humility is mostly being humble in what you do, because if you're not if you don't have humility, you'll be arrogant. You'll be arrogant, because if you don't have humility, you'll look down on people. And then you think, if you don't have humility, that is, you look down on people and you think everything you do is right. You don't need other people's help.
So why do you think that this happens? Why this arrogance comes?
Maybe it's, I think, mostly because of people separate
when they
themselves.
reach a high status, that's when it really puts
But-
them.
And
But what is
or
high
when they
sta-
think, or when they think
Yeah,
that
I
they
think
have
this
reached
is when
high
they
status.
think that this is high
Like
status.
Maybe it's because like we have the casting system in some countries, like these are the poor people, these are the rich people, or these are the middle class people.
And
Or
subhanAllah,
even in like many countries, like, okay, that guy's American. Like, wow.
They think highly of him.
Yeah.
I think, and
Oh,
the
that guy's
poor
Indian.
countries,
Yeah.
Oh, that
Yeah.
guy is so. They try to underestimate you. They try to like make you show down. Like, okay, this guy is of no use. Like,
So again, this is arrogance. But humility, how do you think we can help our youth, our parents, our teachers to understand that how can we develop this skill? That this is the most important thing. One thing is looking at it that this is humility, but how do you develop it?
I think most important way to develop is, again, having an open mind and listening to people, what their views are on certain aspects as a leader. And at the same time, you remind yourself of your roots, that you were nothing before. And Allah says in the Quran that you were just a piece of a blood clot in your mother's womb. And then who do you think you are? That you're made of mud, you're made from the earth.
So again, going back to the foundations, the moral ethics of Islam, the Quran and Sunnah, looking at the ways, like, subhanAllah, this is Allah that has guided us, this is Allah that has given us this opportunity to do things, the knowledge that He has provided. So I think this is how you can perhaps build that humility, because it's just not applied into the day-to-day life humility, but it also affects the heart. I mean, if you have a little bit of arrogance in your heart,
yeah, it can be a key. Like having humility in yourself can become a key for prosperity in life. Like it's all linked together. I think. Like if you have humility in yourself, you will respect people, and once you start to respect people,
People will respect
gain,
you.
They will respect you, and you will, like, at the end of the day, you will gain success. Like in some hadith, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Sahabi, he was doing, like, he was learning Deen Fiqh, and he wanted to know, like, when does a dog get mature? When does he reach the age of maturity? So, and he didn't know about it. So he went to a guy who was a poor guy, okay, like how you say, the Arabs from the
Past.
Bedouin.
yeah, the Bedouins. So he went and asked him, like, how do I know, like, when the dog has matured enough? So the Bedouin replied to him that when you see that the dog, he excretes like with his one leg up, that's when you can justify that the dog has become mature enough. And then this other man saw, and then he's like, why, like, if you ponder about it, why is the Sahabi giving respect to the guy who is a Baddu, or who is a Bedouin, and he just told him about a dog, and what's a big deal? And then the Sahabi says, like, he is my teacher.
Because
Like,
is
he
taught-
gave respect to him as a teacher, as a level of a teacher, just because he gave him some knowledge.
And I think that's why humility and respect are so interlinked. And we feel in nowadays time, for teenagers, youth, we feel that they have lost that respect for their parents, for their teachers.
elders.
Exactly.
Yeah, for the elders in general.
Yes.
Like elders in general, but it's more affected when it's your own families, your own mother and father. And we just totally forget. I think sometimes teenagers tend to react differently in front of parents. And
Your
that-
friends.
to not only the friends but also to the elders outside. So
Yeah.
the elders outside think that, oh, mashallah, the child is wonderful, very respectful, but the child forgets that the most important person in my life is my
your
mother.
Yeah.
And then it's my father.
Your mother, then your father.
Yeah, exactly.
according to the hadith, yes.
So we just try to impress others, and we just go outside and we act differently, but when we are in our own homes, we act differently. So subhanAllah, I think, that's why I think it starts at home. Humility and respect starts at home. And then it's the next step is with your relatives, with your family, with your friends. It's not the other way around, where you are outside very nice guy and at home you are,
A devil in disguise.
yeah, and you need anger management classes because you're talking to your mom or your dad. And I because I work with youth, so I had the opportunity to listen to a lot of parents as well. And then this is the complaint that, mashallah, the brothers are, outside they're different. They're very respectful. But when they get home, they're totally different people.
So respect is basically a really big issue. Like some scholars say, education is not important, but the tarbiyah, or the respect
more
you give to
important,
people,
yeah.
is the most important thing. If you don't have that, no matter how much education you gain, like even if you gain like a lot of education and then you really reach the high post, but you don't respect anyone. You don't respect anyone, so at the end of the day, you're still a loser.
Yeah.
And that's what, give respect to gain respect.
Yeah.
Unless you respect people. I have seen really successful leaders, especially some of the leaders of the countries, it's very rare to find, but some of them are still out there. They go and they themselves go and, for
Serve the
example,
people.
serve the
Serve the
people
people.
in giving juice, giving some teas.
Yeah.
And
And I've
really
seen
high
it
posts.
myself. I was in line one time, in North America, and I didn't even notice that the premier of the province was right behind me, and he was buying Subway, so he was just in the line, and we were
As
just
a normal person.
Yeah, it's just a normal person, and I haven't seen it just one time. I've seen it a couple of times. It was the humility that the person was showing by being with the people and standing in line, waiting for.
He's just one of us.
Yeah, and even you suddenly have more respect for him because he has shown that
Exactly,
humility.
yeah.
And the same thing when I was at work, we had our CEO of the organization having lunch with us, coming and standing in the same line. I mean, sometimes we have this big offices where people like to sit and they don't want to come out until you make an
Lavish and
appointment.
luxuriness.
Yeah, and there is this guy who's just coming out and working with you, and this builds the respect automatically. And I would really encourage the youth to use this as part of their learning. That the top CEOs of the company that do really well, these are the people that actually work on the front line.
Yeah.
They work with the laborers. They work and deliver. They work and do things with them. And automatically you see the gap lessened. And you have these people now having the utmost respect, So humility brings respect.
And respect brings prosperity in life.
And then if we link it all back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His guidelines that He has provided us to make ourselves better, we feel that this is one of the places that we really need to work on. Because we in this age, you will have noticed that how young people, certainly because we have access to a lot of knowledge, so you can go to Sheikh Google and ask all the questions, and suddenly you are qualified to talk about the renowned scholars of Islam, the shuyukh that have spent years, the students of knowledge, and you're challenging them, and you're, I don't know, from your perspective, that if you have seen something like that, because I have felt that when I talk to the youth, they act a little bit arrogant, knowing that all access is there. I don't know, these people are saying things, but perhaps it's not right. We're bound to make mistakes,
Yes.
but then again
yes, that's something that I find in the youth a lot, and even not even youth, even sometimes the older people make the same mistake. That, for example, if there's a person of knowledge and he's done so much for the religion, for Islam, and but then again, people go behind and say, but you know what, he's done all this and that, but he does this and that. He may have made one or two mistakes. All right, we're all human beings.
Yeah.
We're all bound to error. And you should have, one of the things that whenever a popular scholar is there, people go and talk about him behind his back instead of going and
I
telling him.
would like to emphasize a point
Yeah.
on Abdul Mateen, like we are like the normal people, so there are like different categories of
High
people.
class.
There are the normal people, then there are the huffaz, then there are the alims, and then there are the muftis. So the plan of shaitan to make them do mistakes is different with each one of them. Like there is one shaitan just behind the normal guy, and behind the hafil there may be 3 or 4 shaitans, and it goes on like that. So what we should think as normal people in our mind, like they are in a worse situation than us. Like they have to face more of what we say,
Problems.
like distractiveness and stuff than normal people. So it's the harder, of course, the stronger the iman, the better they come back.
Mhm.
But still, they're human beings at the end. So we shouldn't blame the scholars just straight away. He does that thing outside and he's preaching this.
I think we should look for excuses for our brothers
Yeah.
and sisters. I think this is one of the saying of one of the companions of the Prophet. I'm not sure, I don't want to say exactly, but it was just like, you look for excuses
Yeah.
rather than you look for faults.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
when,
that's
when
And
a
when
person-
you don't find an excuse, you just say he or she
There was
had
an example
excuse.
that a person was, 2 people met each other around Fajr time. So one of them was going towards the masjid. Both of them were coming back home. So one person had gone towards the masjid to pray Fajr, and he came back home. And one person was coming back from a nightclub, and each of them thought the other had done the same thing. So if you have the mentality, yes, that everybody's good and I'm good, you're going to the
Positive
masjid.
mentality.
Yeah, you will have a positive mentality
Positive
about him.
mentality.
That mashallah, he is Quran. If I've gone and done something bad, I've smoked, this guy's a smoker as well. You would have the same mentality. And you would treat others the way you
I'm
treat
really
yourself.
enjoying this fabulous discussion, but we will like to take a break and we'll be back again, and inshallah stay tuned and we will talk again about humility and respect. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Look to the heavens, hands spread wide, thanking Allah the Most High. There is no God but Allah.
We can't just take knowledge and keep it as information. We have to transfer it into action. When he got up, he said one thing. Asalla nas? Did the people pray? In Hajj, for example, the primary example of how multiculturalism really looks like. All equal. I've got a dentist in Canada. Even though he's ripping holes in my teeth, he's got great akhlaq. I love visiting him. Identify the issue. Analyze it. Challenge it. And then try again. Because if you fail, big deal. try again, and keep trying.
To the heavens, hands spread wide, thanking Allah the Most High. There is no God but Allah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome back once again. We're discussing humility and respect at the iTeens World program, and I would like to welcome you back again. And we were just discussing humility and respect, and Abdul Mateen was giving us an example, so we'll continue from there. So you were saying something, Abdul Mateen?
Yeah, I think that one of the examples that I read about was Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu during his Khalifa. He had sent an army, he was going to send an army, I don't remember now whether it was to the Persians or to the Romans, but he himself took the reins of the leader's horse, of the army leader's horse, and walked on the sand by himself, and he sent out the army, a farewell to the army, and he was walking barefoot on the ground while everybody else was on horses, and he was the Khalifa at that time. So it shows the humility that he had. Okay, and because the people saw his humility, they become more motivated themselves, that we have a leader that actually cares for us. That's why we should care about him, and we should make sure that we get our job done for him.
Yeah.
And either it be religious
in one
events
more
or
case
corporate
when,
events. Yeah.
Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq and his servant were going somewhere on the camel, and then Abu Bakr Siddiq and the servant were taking turns on the camel. So when they reached there, it was the servant's turn.
Umar ibn Khattab, I think.
I think
I
this
think,
was
yeah,
Umar
Umar
ibn
ibn
Khattab when he went to Jerusalem.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah,
When he
and so
traveled.
those people thought that the one sitting on the camel is the Khalifa,
Yeah.
but in fact, in reality,
Was it a horse or a camel?
It was a camel.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a camel.
Honestly, I'm so jealous because I don't know any of these stories. And you guys know
But
so
this
many
is why
stories.
it's important to
Discuss these stories.
discuss
exactly.
these stories, because they reinforce that humility and respect that we can learn from the life of the Prophet ﷺ and his companions and the people, the scholars. We need to invigorate these.
Get back to the foundation.
Yeah, exactly. That's how we will have that emotional attachment to our deen, because we now know that these are the people that were actually implementing these things in their life. And also from the real life, you will find that there are a lot of people that you can learn from. They show that humility and respect towards others. And you can really look back, and in your school, you will find that there is always some kid that you respect more than the others.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I can give you my own example. Like I had someone who actually was very, very intelligent in terms of knowing the deen, but not only knowing it, but also practicing it. But this person has so much humility that you can see it while he's talking. He never ever bragged. Teenagers, we like to brag about, like, I did this, I did that.
So
I'm
basically,
sure you will agree.
Iman brings you back to humility. Like if you take a small example, like going to the masjid for salah. Like there we see nobody is the king, nobody is the worker.
Exactly,
we all
everybody's
stand the
equal.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
We all
subhanAllah, one
stand the
scholar
same.
said, the humility is when you think that Allah is the one who has, guided you to the masjid, and He is the one who has given you the opportunity to pray, and you are one of the persons that is the least qualified to be in the masjid.
Yeah.
This is the humility
This
that
is
you
Be
need
thankful
to.
and appreciation.
Exactly,
to the
that's
others
how you
around
will be thankful and appreciative, because you are humble now. And this is part of our main framework of our deen, the foundations of ethics that we are talking about.
And I think, Brother Wasim, some people, whenever they're given respect, okay, I face this problem personally myself, that when people give them respect, I think this is the opposite side of what we're discussing right now, but when people give them respect, they tend to they tend to think that they're somebody big as well.
Yeah.
For example, if somebody who is actually in a position gives them some respect as just an employee, or just being friendly or respectful, they become high themselves. And I think I have this problem personally, and I think I need to improve myself on that. When people act friendly with me, that I tend to boss over them, become authoritative.
So maybe we should
Yeah.
all try to be with the different types of people.
Yeah, that's how
Like
you
if
will
you're a
learn.
rich guy, just don't stay at home.
But
with
again,
your own luxury
humility
and
comes
lavish.
when you are humble in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yes.
When you will bring that into your mind that actually what you were doing was for the sake of Allah, and Allah is the one who give you the opportunity to do this.
So again, the thing which is pulling us back is salah again.
Yeah.
Like you practice more, you become more.
better at it.
Yeah, salah.
And as we discussed before about thinking about what you're saying before, for example, the Sahabas, they used to put stones in their mouth just to make sure that they won't say something that was not correct. They would blurt something out.
Mhm.
They would always think about what they're going to say before they're actually saying it. That's why think twice before you say. That's a very good saying that I try to practice. Hopefully I should do that much more, inshallah. Yeah.
Inshallah. And like keeping in mind also, like with the internet age, we tend to be, because we are not in person. So in person it might be difficult to be arrogant in front of others, but on the internet it's very easy because you're not in person.
Yeah.
Again, going back, we see that emotions flowing back and forth. And you see all this anger coming out because you're not standing in front of the person.
You'll be
So-
hiding behind the computer.
yeah, hiding behind so you can say whatever. But remember that these things will stay on the internet. They're not going to go away. You have actually...
Moreover, that thing is going to stay with Allah. It's not going to go away.
Yeah, exactly. It's in the book. So whatever you think, it will go away, but it will not. And you have hurt someone's feeling thinking that you know better than them. And subhanAllah...
When actually they just gave you a little bit of respect as another human being.
Yeah, true. And this is the area where I think a lot of people, when they move into leadership and they acquire certain skills, they start thinking, oh, I'm better because I do understand leadership and I know what to do. But actually you don't, because the main framework requires you to be humble. A leader who is not humble will not be truly respected. Maybe it will be respect just for show. Just because you are an authority, I respect you. But it won't be from the heart.
Yeah.
It won't be from the natural, like how the companions would die for the Prophet ﷺ. The companions, the khulafa, how the people will, fight for them. But it was not just for them. It was for a bigger cause. It was for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But it shows you the value of the person that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates in the people's hearts because of the love of that person too, and the humility that person has.
So like the person who has more humility and respect gains more knowledge eventually. Like some of the old sayings, like they say, you should be stupid, you should act stupid to gain more knowledge. Like if you're in front of a knowledgeable person,
True, yes.
and you act like you know something, then you won't gain that point.
Because they won't emphasize that much knowledge on you. Yeah.
Like if you see in the schools, like I've noticed, like a guy who is really knowledgeable and intelligent, but he doesn't have.
He yearns for that. He yearns for more knowledge.
Yeah, he doesn't have that humility. He doesn't give the teacher the respect. So the teacher was thinking, said like, why do I even go to him? And on the other hand, the guy who is not intelligent and he is weak, but he respects the teacher. He just gives respect to the teacher.
And also
so the teacher will want
to
to give out the knowledge to him. Yeah.
And I think also the other side is when I talk to youth like yourself, others, they will say that parents don't respect them, and parents need to build that humility as well, to understand that sometimes the young people that we are having in our families perhaps do understand things a little better, are different, and then have the ability to do things differently, where we start thinking that no, just wait till you grow up and then talk to me about these things. And so they become arrogant towards their own children. And I think that classification of a child that you're only 15 years old, actually I think in some ways
exactly
it's 15 is adult. It's not anymore. You're an adult now, and you have all these responsibilities. And you have to be treated differently. You have to be given that responsibility and respect that you deserve. But then you have to also act. I think the youth also have that duty, I can say, that you need to understand that now you are not anymore a child.
Yeah, you have to act as an adult now.
Yeah, and because you are
that's a transition phase. That's why I think we have identity problems. Sometimes we act too mature and sometimes we act too childish.
Yeah.
Same thing for me, for example. I act too childish when I'm sleeping, I never get up.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you're talking with high-fi people, you act kind of hi-fi. But at the end of the day, you need to have the humility that I'm just another teenager who's trying to be somebody. But unless you give that humility and respect to the other person you're talking to, interacting with, you're not going to gain anything.
And I think, when we come back again to the foundations of ethics of Islam, we need to give that respect that our scholars truly deserve. We need to give that people the respect that truly are doing an amazing job for the ummah. Because we seriously, at this age of internet...
Like for the scholars, like the more respect you give, the more they want to do for the ummah.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's a benefit for us also.
Yeah,
true, yeah.
And a lot of time I think we ignore the fact. And again, like we discussed, it starts with the parents, the mother, the father, your family, your teachers. A lot of times they feel like, we are so rude to the teachers. Like I talk to the young people and they are like,
you don't appreciate the teachers enough, the one who give you knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. And they will again say, oh yeah, because the teacher don't understand us, and they don't really, some kids will say, oh yeah, I'm so bored because I can read all of this at home. I can go on the Google and check and I will get all the information. But really it's not about reading. It's not about acquiring knowledge just from the internet, because it's the environment that will enhance that acquisition of knowledge. That's what's created by, when you sit with the scholars, when we sit with the companions that are talking about the deen, that are talking about the religion. So in any case, even in Islam, these are the guidelines. That's how you get knowledge. And that's how you build that humility and respect. Because a lot of times, I think, you from your examples from schools, you will relate like how rude children can become towards teacher. I had one instance where the kid said, when we don't like the teacher, we make sure that we get her or him fired.
Oh, that's just...
Which
that's
is...
yeah, that's just...
It's just mean.
That's mean, because really we don't understand the value of the teacher. They are giving us knowledge.
They have tried
whatever
themselves,
he is, however he is, he's still a teacher.
Yeah, and they themselves have worked hard to come to that area. Yeah, you were saying?
He's still a human being.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they are trying their best. And I think it goes both ways as well. I think teachers need to understand more.
Yeah, I feel sometimes, very rarely, some teachers really don't care about them. They're just doing it for the sake of doing it so that they can get some money out of it.
Yeah,
So
and again,
that's the problem. The teacher, like his.
Yeah, but that's very rare. But our job as a student is not to judge them. It's to give them as much as respect as possible. And I think once we give them the respect and that show them that we have a yearn for whatever their intellectual setup might be, they will eventually, inshallah, come back to teaching us, and they will enjoy coming back to
and you learning from them and they teaching us in a humble and respectful way will generate more respect. I thank you again for this fabulous discussion once again at iTeens World.
Thank you.
Jazakumullah khairan. And I will reiterate the fact that these learning sessions are just to make sure that we facilitate the learning and acquisition of knowledge so we can apply these skills to make a better youth, a better family, a better ummah. And inshallah, we'll be back once again. I thank you again, and I thank you Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us the opportunity to be here today. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
All you see is for you and I. In your dreams, through the nights, every moment that passes by, look to the heavens, hands spread wide, thanking Allah the Most High. There is no God but Allah, Muhammad is His messenger. Look to the heavens, hands spread wide, thanking Allah the Most High. There is no God but Allah, Muhammad is His messenger. There is no God but Allah, Muhammad is His messenger.